5:00. What is it? Tuesday. Bob Beeler in for Mike Prater all week, rolling right along here on Idaho Sports Talk. I'd like to welcome our video audience to the program. We're now airing on all our social media channels. If you want to hop on and watch our segment, always brought to you by the Dollar Loan Center. Visit don'tbebroke.com. All right, Bob, we're going over some pretty good stuff today. Some Jeremiah Dickey on the North End Zone project. We talked about college football, the way it's played. It's looking more and more like the NFL, right down to the rule changes now. College football now has a 2-minute warning for one reference. And here we are now ready to talk quarterbacks for the second day in a row right at this time slot. How we doing?
Doing good. Maddux Madsen today. Yesterday, it was Malachi Nelson. For Boise State to have a good season, at least one of these guys, I think, is going to have to exceed the number that we've assigned them for Boise State to be really good.
The most important, that's where we are, where it's not the 15 best players on the team. The reason Maddux Madsen comes in at 9 on the list of most important is because we were thinking, well, if Maddux Madsen, if something were to happen to him, whatever the case may be, and he is no longer available, then you're going to start Malachi Nelson, which to me lessens the overall importance of Maddux Madsen, because you have someone behind him, technically behind him right now, according to Coach Danielson, that's probably going to be ready to go. And I think that's why Malachi Nelson came in yesterday on this list at number 10, Bob, because if he doesn't get the starting job, it's because Mad Dog has it. And if something were to happen to him to take away his availability, then Maddux Madsen would be fine on this. But Mad Dog pole position, he's going to start off season with the Blues. Coach Danielson said that. And here we go, breaking down Maddux Madsen today.
And when I think of some of the guys that I voted, at least when we were going around the table, for my real high numbers, say the top 5, they were all people who were really good and all people that there was a major drop-off from the starter to whoever was backing them up at their position. And quarterback for Boise State right now is a pretty good position with 2 pretty good players.
Yeah, I mean, it lessens the importance.
Madsen is a guy that has experience, played 9 games, 1 start. He didn't play full games because he and Talon Green kind of traded off when they were in there, but he played well, 2 times freshman of the week, threw for over 1,000 yards, again, in limited play. I thought was really good at both UCF and Memphis off the bench in bringing Boise State back in both games.
Okay.
Led them into the end zone, didn't win any of the game, but did bring them back, and Boise State was unable to hold the lead. And he had a couple of games where he threw for some big yardage. Didn't have a lot of completions against New Mexico, but a lot of long passes, went for big yardage, and then threw for 258 in a start against Fresno State.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Maddux showed me a lot more than I thought he was ever going to show me last year. I was really impressed with the UCF comeback. Bob, if UCF misses a kick on the last play there, Mad Dog gets that great fourth quarter comeback against the Big 12 team at home, right? When I look at the numbers, and this is what Coach Cutter I heard say earlier too, just about he has tape. Whereas the other players don't. I mean, as far as playing quarterback and throwing an actual pass as quarterback in a game, I think Mad Dog's the only player on the roster that has. I don't know if Malachi actually threw a pass last year. He played a couple snaps.
I think he did against San Jose, but he was in the game briefly in the opener against San Jose.
As far as like any type of experience goes, you got to give the hand to Mad Dog. And I mean, really efficient numbers, Bob. Career, he completes 62% of his passes. He has 9 touchdown passes to only 3 interceptions. He's been ready, and he's been able when called upon. And Mad Dog has had interesting situations where he has been thrown in there. And I think the kid's been nails. I think he's been tough. He's been gritty. Like, I don't want to say like I'm knocking him, but in an ideal situation, he's kind of the perfect stable veteran backup college quarterback. Probably not going to play in the pros, but he's very well respected in the building. He's almost as good as the starter, maybe not just quite there. He's going to say the company line. He's going to buy into everything. And then maybe he's going to be a future offensive coordinator when he's 27, young, and, there's another one of these young guys going into coaching. Now, I'm not trying to sell that on Maddux. He wants to play. And I know Coach Cutter is not going to play politics, just like we talked about yesterday. Mad Dog's going to have to win the job. Malachi's working his tail off. I think he's going to be right there. That's kind of where I am. But, Mad Dog, I have a feeling that a lot of people in the fan base are going to be a little disappointed if he's named the starter. And I think that's tremendously unfair, but I know how the game works. And I think that's where a lot of fans are going to do. Malachi's a lot sexier.
I think you're selling him a little short. I think he makes good decisions. I think he's going to tuck the ball and get a key first down. We saw that in a couple of games. I think he has more talent and more ability than most of the people believe. Mm-hmm. I think it's a dead heat right now.
You're a Mad Dog guy too. Yeah. All right. Well, here's some audio. This is Maddux Madsen talking to Bob Beeler on the Boise State pregame show before the spring game. I think a lot of people, unless you listen to the spring game, you probably have not heard this audio. This is some good stuff. Here is Maddux Madsen post practice after spring ball before the spring game, talking about him in the spring.
I think I did a lot of things. I think the main thing was like understanding the college level of football. Like it's completely different. The speed's different. What you have to do is different, like the preparation and like the decision-making of what you do. And obviously you have to be, I would say you have to be tougher. It's like those guys are bigger, faster, stronger in every way. And so it's like, I think that's where I got better of preparation and like understanding what it takes to be an elite quarterback at the college level.
And then this spring, you've been able to play some, maybe more than people thought you would. So what have you been able to do?
Being able to throw the ball at a live speed, I guess, with those guys has been awesome. It's something that I know I talked about, but it's like you get it taken from you and you're like, oh goodness, like this sucks. But now being able to be back out there and just being around those guys is so much fun. Like everyone's having fun out there. The joy at football practice is like elite.
And then of course we talked with Dirk Cutter during the course of spring practice and asked him what his thoughts were on Maddux Madsen.
We have real game film of him playing. All I got to do is put on that film and watch him play. Like playing in a real game and executing in a real game is way different than executing in practice.
Now, this year in spring, because it came off the injury, Maddux Madsen wasn't able to do everything. He was able to do basically non-contact drills, a lot of 7-on-7. And we asked Coach Cutter his thoughts on Madsen only being able to do some stuff.
He's the hardest because he's bored out there right now. He can only do 7-on-7 and individual. So there's a guy who has proved that he can play at this level. He sees our offense struggling at times and knows he could make it better, but he's helpless. Like we get in those 11-on-11 drills and, we got our faces kicked in at times today and, he wants to help. So, he's frustrated more than anything. I think, he's just licking his chops to get out there in the fall.
And I think, Johnny, that, when you're a competitor and you see the job is there, that you have a shot at it, he recovered a lot quicker than I think most people thought. I thought when they said he had knee issues, he was going to be, done for the spring. And he ended up doing more and moved around and looked better than I would have thought. I think he might have thought he could do even more than they allowed him. And I'm sure that, you always want to err on the side of caution, especially in spring ball. But, I can see Coach Cutter looking at him and saying, yeah, he wants to get in there and do more than they're letting him do.
He does. And just like the inexperience behind him, there were times where Dirk was saying it, that they were getting their butt kicked by the defense. And it's because of the quarterback play. And you got Mad Dog standing right behind the deal going to Coach, put me in. I can fix this. I know how to drive this car. I know how to run these plays, Coach. And I know the younger guys are rusty, or in Malachi's case, it was just the translation and the learning of the terminology. Look, Malachi's going to be head in books all summer. I fully believe that. And he's going to work his tail off too, just knowing the kid's dad and where he's coming from and how much I think he wants this. But Mad Dog's going to be doing the exact same thing. And this thing's going to go. And hopefully, I just hope Mad Dog is 100% healthy when the season starts, and Malachi as well. And Boise State's in a great shape when it comes to the quarterback room. Did we play all the dirt? Did we have?
Yeah, no, that we did. And I think that both are going to help the other. I think that Maddux is going to push Malachi to be better, and Malachi is going to push Maddux to be better.
Yeah.
And I think that we'll end up with a better quarterback because of the two guys that know in order to be quarterback one, they're going to have to take their game to the next level, because if they don't, the other guy will.
Yep. It's going to be a close call, maybe the closest call that Boise State's had, and they've had several close calls with the quarterback position. I feel like a broken record saying this, but I think they're in really good hands with with Coach Cutter and their process. I think whoever wins that job is gonna earn it, and will give Boise State the best chance to go down to Statesboro.
Statesboro's the first game
and win at Georgia Southern. Bob, tomorrow about protecting guys like Mad Dog, protecting guys like Genty. We got another home run. We're kind of going to go in the direction of the offensive line tomorrow. Your radio partner, Pete Cavender, who played at Boise State, was a starter on the first Fiesta Bowl team, I believe. No, he was not. Pete Cavender.
Jeff started.
His brother was. Well, Cavender brothers. They were interchangeable, Bob. Sometimes they lied to the coaches and they changed uniforms so the other guy could play. But Pete Cavender, who played here, and then Ben Dooley, just a couple of years ago, was a second-team All-Mountain West player, and he's battled some injuries, played last year, got back. Ben Dooley in studio tomorrow at this time at 5 o'clock, so we can get down and dirty with the offensive line and get their perspective on blocking for Ashton Genty and obviously pass protecting for these quarterbacks. And we will say this, I think Boise State fan can agree on this, no matter who you want. The quarterback room is strong. Quarterback's not going to be a weakness on this football team, is it?
Wouldn't think so. I think they've got, and especially when you compare it with what else is in the quarterback rooms with other teams in the Mountain West, I feel real good.
What do you guys think? 208-424-9300. We talked Malachi yesterday. We talked Mad Dog today. Do you care? Are you, hey, I care what Dirk Cutter thinks. That's what I care about. Or is there a particular reason why you want Mad Dog to be the starter, or why you want Malachi to be the starter? What is that reason? If you call our Cloverdale Plumbing text line, we might be able to hook you up with something as well. 208-424-9300. JP, I got some nuggets. I got some NFL schedule nuggets I want to talk about. This time tomorrow, that sucker is going to be almost released. Bob's in for Prater. Let's have some fun when we come back on Idaho Sports Talk.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is